Well, we are fixing to get ready to start day number 2. Now, if you recall in the last video, we ended up having to replace the knife bar in this. It was just the old one was dull, a little too dull. Had got to vibrating too much a couple of different times. And what ended up happening is these tacks came loose on these plates here. So we're gonna go ahead and tack weld down right here and here. That one's kind of burned through, so we're gonna put a little tack there as well. It doesn't appear that it is broke away at any other point here. So we'll go ahead and get that tack welded, and then I have a couple of fingers to replace here as well. It looks like 3, 4, 4. Yeah, it looks like 4 or 5, maybe 6 fingers to replace. But the main thing we need to do, we need to get this panel tack welded. And maybe I'll wait, get some combining done, and either replace them in the morning or replace them when I'm waiting for trucks. Sarah left with a load of wheat now, and Alex is on her way over. She's gonna take the next one. Well, it would be better if we actually took this whole plate out and welded it from underneath. We'll see how that goes. All it was is just little spot welds on each of these tabs. That's all it is, just to kind of hold this. It's all kind of springy and whatever, and this got pulled up. I don't know if one of these fingers got half in and half out and ripped that floor up or not, but we'll have to get a new piece for that anyway. Right now we'll go ahead and take and put new fingers in there. We'll have to take the cover off, reach in there and get the fingers, the old fingers out, and put some new fingers in there. Well, I have all of the fingers that were broken replaced. It was a box of 12. I ended up replacing 8. I've got 4 left in the box. I've got a couple of them that are borderline, but we'll just leave that be. All they have is like an R clip that holds them into place. You just shove them back up through the peg hole, drop it down, and you can kind of see there's an R clip that pins through the bottom of it here. The old ones were metal finger. These are a little less forgiving, so we'll just get our covers put on and we'll go ahead and fire up. I've got to hook the battery up because I had that unhooked. I had the ground unhooked, that is, so that I could weld without having a catastrophe with any of the computers. Looks like I've got a guard to replace here as well. Well, everything is moving right along here very nicely. Now we really can't unload on the go in this field because we've got some issues with some washouts here. We've got a real bad washout that runs from the top of this field all the way down through, and what I ended up doing is I cut on each side of it so that we don't have to cross it. Now, we did have a bearing go a little while ago here. I didn't film it. I actually thought the frickin' combine was on fire. I could smell a little bit of something burning. I thought I was pushing the combine a little too hard. I thought maybe I was slipping a belt somewhere, and I backed it off a little bit. Didn't smell anything. I got around to the headland. I turned on the headland, and we got a little bit of a breeze. All the dust blew by. I didn't see any smoke lingering with the dust. So I proceeded to move on a little bit. Charlotte was right behind me with the grain buggy. Sarah was actually riding with her. Sarah has left here now. Her load is loaded. Now we're making a load for Alex. And I started in again, and just as soon as I started in, I see blue smoke in this left mirror here. And right then, Charlotte was calling me on the phone. I hurried up, shut the combine off, and the belts that run off of the main clutch that go down to the straw chopper drive, the idler pulley, a bearing went, and it actually threw my belts off for the grain unload. It wound up what was left of the belts that come off of that main clutch that go down to the straw chopper drive, and it could have made a mess. I should have jumped out of the combine as soon as I smelled something burning slightly, but I just thought I had a belt that was you know, getting a little hot from pushing it a little too hard. The wheat's yielding pretty good here, and I thought that's all it was. Had that thing run any much longer, I would have had a real mongrel of a problem with what was left to the belts that ended up getting wound up around that pulley drive. Now, we don't need the straw chopper right now, so what I ended up doing is I took the guard off of the top of that pulley, put my grain tank unloading belts back on, and we're just gonna run without the straw chopper. What we do is we run the straw chopper in low speed, and the straw is coming down in behind it. We have that moved forward. We don't really even need to run it at all, but they want you to run it some when you're not using it, so that if anything does kind of get caught in there, it'll just spit it out. So we're just gonna keep moving on here. I do apologize for not videoing any of that belt whatever swapping around, but I kind of thought maybe we were gonna be done combining for the day, but I said, you know what, we'll just run without the straw chopper. And I had to get on the phone with Alex to see where she was. I didn't know if maybe I'd be sending her after parts. It was 1 o'clock on Saturday afternoon here, and it just, I said, oh my God, I'm gonna be out of commission. So we'll keep plugging away here. We've got a couple of different varieties of wheat in this field. It's a little thin right here on this side hill here, but this looks like it's a Pioneer variety. This has got some whiskers on the heads here, and we'll just keep plugging away here. Well, it is about 7:30 Sunday morning, and I'm gonna take a load of wheat into Mayberry's. We've got one other load on that one of the girls is gonna take. We'll get this in there, get back, and get combining wheat. We've got one field to do across through, a couple of them on the other side of the road, and then we'll be done in this area. They're gonna go ahead and start baling straw here today, and then there's a small strip of hay that they're gonna bale as well. So we'll get to Mayberry's and get back here, get fired up and going. Dallas Mayberry Farms right here. We'll weigh in, get offloaded, and we'll get back to the field, and we should be able to start combining right off. There wasn't hardly any dew this morning. Well, we're gonna get back to the field. The moisture on that load was 11.5%. Test weight was 58.5, and we had on just over 25.5 ton. It was the last load of the night that I did, and the straw was starting to get a little tough, and I ended up quitting about 8 o'clock. So we'll get back to the field here, and we should be able to start in combine, like I said a little bit earlier here, because we didn't have hardly any dew here this morning. Sarah's on her way over with the other load that we had on from overnight. She actually has to run the grain buggy because Charlotte has a lacrosse game today. So we will keep at it here. So we have some wheat fields on our left here. I just passed one. And what they did with this wheat is they used a stripper head, and they stripped off just the heads. And then what they'll do is they'll go in there with a disc vine, and they'll cut what's standing down with the disc vine, and then they'll bale it. The one advantage of doing things that way is you can go after the straw when you have time to go after the straw. And anybody doing straw with a rotary combine, it's best if you get the straw baled up just as fast as you can. In other words, try to get it baled before it gets wet, because the straw ends up getting beat up a little bit, especially if the wheat is over matured. The stalks get awful brittly and they end up getting broke up a lot more in the rotary combine. And if you can keep all that straw out of the combine, that's less material that you have to run through the combine, and your cleaning process can go a lot faster. This farm up on our right hand side, this is the lot farm here, and this is where the New York Farm Days used to take place every year. Last year was the first year that they moved it over to Pompey. You can see some of the buildings are still there, and now they've actually got crops planted on where everybody used to park. Looks like there was some pumpkins planted back there. We've got some other items that are planted right here. Right up here, right to our right here, that's where they used to have the auction every year the last couple days of the farm days. But usually I come in the other way. I come in next to the lake, and now I'm going back out through Seneca Falls here. Just a different way to go. When you do this on maps or whatever like that, they say this way's faster anyways, but I was kind of thinking I'd be passing Sarah here in a minute. We were coming around a corner back, about a mile or so ago. I was thinking she's got to be getting close. I was just getting ready to call her, and then I seen her coming at me right at about a corner like this one here. By the time I grabbed the camera to turn it on, she was just passing by the front of the truck here. So we'll be to the field in a little while here. We're not actually too far away. And we'll start in.